So today we are playing Golos Tireless Pilgrim. The ability that we're looking to take advantage of is actually Golos' first ability, its ETB ability. Or when Golos, the Tireless Pilgrim, enters a battlefield, you may search your library for a land card, and you may put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. So normal tutoring thing, you get any land from your deck and put it on the battlefield. In this case, we have a particular card that we're searching for. Now, what land are we getting? The main land that we are planning on getting is actually Maze's End. So, for those of you who don't know, Maze's End enters the battlefield taps for a colorless mana. Pretty boring card overall at the current moment. However, you can pay 3 generic mana, tap it, and then you return Maze's End to your hand. Then you put a gate onto the battlefield. Search your library for a gate, put it on the battlefield. And then if you control 10 or more gates, you just win the game. You win the game. Doesn't matter what board state it is in. You just win the game. That's what this deck is working on abusing. Just winning with Maze's End. Now, to do that, we are running a few synergies. The first one is we're just running normal gate synergies. So like Crackling Perimeter. So whenever you tap a gate, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So untap effects that will allow us to deal multiple damage in a turn. So that could be a lethal threat in our deck, actually. Oh, we're also running Guild Summit. It's just an amazing card draw engine in the deck. It either functions as a Draw X spell, or it can function as a landfall trigger that lets you draw a card. Either way, it's amazing. There's a few other synergies in the Gates deck that I will get into later, but overall that shows the idea that we do have a lot of gate synergy in the deck. The third group in the deck is flickering cards. Now, we're running flickering cards for one reason, and that is that Golos has an activated ability that is an ETB. So when we flicker Golos, we get that ETB over and over again, letting us get multiple lands out in a turn, thus making it so that we can win with Maze's End faster than what we normally would be able to do. So that's the main plan of the deck. So like Emiel the Blessed basically just becomes 3 mana, search your library for any land and put it onto the battlefield. Or Illusionist Stratagem, just search your library for any land and put it on the battlefield. Extremely powerful effects in this. So that is the main game plan of the deck. It is to get out 10 or more gates to win the game, and whatever our opponents aren't doing doesn't really matter. We are running ways to slow them down, stuff like that. Normal commander pieces. So that is a quick introduction of the deck. So we did win the die roll, so we should go first. And we do have a really good opening hand that I want to keep. We have 3 lands and ways to get more lands. So, talk about good. We also can put in multiple land drops. So, the interesting thing with gates is that they do come with the downside of coming into tapped. The way that this deck gets around it is by playing multiple land drops, just to stay with the rest of the board. So, we're up against a Rograth, Sung of Roga, and a Ishai Ojikai's Dragon Speaker deck. Inala Apex Whisper. I have that commander in Japanese, actually. Foil Japanese. And Calamax, the Stormsire. I'm immediately most scared of Calamax, just because I know what that deck can do. Although people are probably going to be more scared of me. So we're waiting for Edwin Rockets to choose. Okay, so upkeep, draw. So we did get Terra External, so all lands have indestructible. I'm pretty happy about that. So we play Overgrown Tomb, pay the 2 life, and then play Sky Shroud Ranger. Already doing good work, I think. Let's see if it resolves. I hope it does. Yeah, in between rounds, I will do spoilers. That's what I think I'm going to do. So after this game, I will do some spoilers talking about the new Strixhaven cards. So we're waiting on Edwin. Okay, will our shaman get to resolve? I hope so. Okay, so cool. And now we just yield through all. No possible plays yield all. So our opponent plays Temple of Enlightenment, scrying 1. Now, where do they put it? Putting it on the bottom. Yeah, this deck could not get away with running temples just because there's only so many tap lands you can run. Kalima's Garden. That is actually kind of scary if I'm being honest. I wonder how they built their deck. Oof. Now if we get our counter spells then. And Esteem Vents tapped. That ends our turn. It passes to us. We draw a Krosan Wayfinder, which currently isn't that useful to be honest, but so we activate Sky Shroud's Ranger's ability, putting in Rakdos Guildgate, and we played Boros Guildgate as our land for turn, and then we will cast Wayfinder as our creature, passing turn. Now next turn we can Realms Uncharted, getting 2 lands, so we'll just get lands that don't really matter for the long run, but we will be able to play them for turn. So we want to get all untapped lands. So that way we can play Golos, thus getting Maze's End. So Academy Ruins is played by our opponent. Okay, so it's Edwin's turn. I guess because of Krosan Wayfinder, we do not get to just automatically yield, which kind of sucks. We are ahead of everyone, which is nice. I like the position we're in currently. So our opponent plays in Island, and then passes, it looks like. I'm playing something for 1 green. Nope, they just played. Bizarre. Upkeep, draw. So Calamax player hasn't done anything scary either. We are without. So they ramp. They play a Gruul Signet. Now it's our turn. Upkeep, draw. We get a Reap and Sow. So we get to destroy target land or search your library for a land card and put it onto battlefield tapped. So we will Realms Uncharted here. And we can't play Golos. What was I thinking? Oh, we have to choose an opponent. And let's just get basic lands. And then I guess we just get shock lands too. Done. So 2 of the lands will go into the graveyard, 2 of them will go into our hands. I don't really care which is which. Maybe they choose 2 shock lands, maybe they choose a shock and a basic, maybe they just choose both basics to go into our hand. Either way, we're good. We get to have 5 lands out, and we get to get out Maze's End. Edwin is thinking about it. Wondering what he's going to pick. Okay, already by the time that we've been playing, like 2 more cards have been spoiled. Like, whoa. So play. And then do Budoka Gardener. Do we actually want to do that? Nah, we'll just leave that up. So we can cast Golos next turn. And F6. SRAM. So they are an equipment deck, which isn't surprising. But I was wondering what type of deck they are. So they're Voltron. which, I'll be honest, immediately makes me less scared of them. Search for Tomorrow, although they do have Sunhome's Fortress of the Legion, which is a scary card. So our opponent suspend Search for Tomorrow. Do they not have any lands? I feel like it would just have been better to... Or did they do that last turn and I just missed the trigger? There's a possibility of that. Nope, it looks like they just... No, that's what that 1 mana was for last turn. Oh, that makes sense. Reading the card explains the card, kids. Okay, so just F6 through the turn. Our opponent plays a Veil Crystal and a Command Tower. Because they played Explore. Our opponent plays a Field of the Dead into a Chromatic Lantern. Not casting Calamax. I'm also running Chromatic Lantern for a change. Although that's just because it's a 5-color deck and I wasn't sure how good the mana base would be. Oh, is he... He's probably is a combo deck, isn't he? If I like what he's doing, I may brew around that commander. So it's 6 mana to get out. And I assume he just wins the second he gets out 6 mana. I wouldn't be surprised if Illuna Apex of Witches is a CEDH or a... Maybe not CEDH, but like a tier down from CEDH. Just because of the broken ability of it. Because CDH always wants to go through your entire deck, and this commander lets you do that just by the card itself. So we got Esteem's Vents. Go to main. We play Steam Vents. Yes. Commander Quarters just did a deck tech on that deck. Really? I've missed that. I don't really keep track of Commander Quarters as much. So we'll play Golos, grabbing a Maze's End. Where are you? And then let's pass turn, leaving up the Cloudshift. He spins into Oma and wins. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. It's one of those decks that's just like, it has a lot of potential. It's really fun. I haven't built it yet. Yet is the key word in that, though. And, by the way, hey Rob, thank you for coming to the chat. What do you think of the new setup? Probably should go down a little bit. So, Isha just played a Mystic Gate. Thank you. And now... yes, the deck tech is there. If you want to. So, Hammer of Nazan, that is immediately a rather scary card. I assume it's targeting the commander. So, Rograth will become a 2/1 indestructible commander. With First Strike, Menace, and Trample as well. So, all the keywords. Is he attacking? That's the real question. So if anything targets Golos, we're flickering it with Cloudshift. And on the end step, we're flickering it with Cloudshift anyways. We currently have 2 gates in the battlefield. And we can get out... We can get out how many more? 3, we can get 1. Only 1 next turn. But play Terra's Eternal. Thus protecting our lands by giving them indestructible. Currently, we don't even need Golos to win. We have a clock right now. Even though it doesn't really look like it, we have a clock of... How many turns? I guess 8? 8 turns, yeah. Just with the way the board is set up. And because people do not normally run land removal, that is not something that we usually need to worry about. Let alone land removal with Terra Eternal. Then we're just done. It's one of those things where this deck is really hard to interact with just because of the, the unwritten rules. So I think he wins here. So we'll ask them if they win. Yes. He grabs Omniscience. No, there's a bug. What? He's not winning because of a bug? It's kinda hilarious. So he does exile his whole library. So we get a pretty good look at what his deck is. I wish there was a way to pop it out. So I'm confused. Does he just lose here? Because he has no cards in his library. So, Petal of Insight. Petal of Insight, looking at the top 3 cards, there's nothing in there. Oh, so he just loses here. Okay, from here, we're just waiting on everyone. So they're talking about the probability to have Omni on the bottom of the library to be improbable. However, I wonder what the actual statistics for that is. What are the cards in his graveyard? That deck has a way to put cards on the bottom of the library. Explore, Search for Tomorrow, Crystal Veil, and Grow from the Ashes. It doesn't look like he has any. Yeah, he just died. Okay. No, he didn't mulligan, so... With that kind of combo deck, you mulligan. So now it's a 2v1. At least that's kind of how I'm playing it. So no, our opponent didn't mulligan. For some reason. But... you just never know. So it's our turn. Now here's where things get interesting. What do we draw? Hour of Promise. Okay, do we play that? I don't think so. He was saying something about it being bugged. So, Maze's End. Do we do that first? Yeah, let's Maze's End first. And just... pay 3? Oh, wait. So, let's still play, Terra Eternal. So all lands have Indestructible. Now we will pass turn. Because I forgot to Cloudshift because I got so distracted with what our opponents were doing. Which is never something you want to do, but it happens. How angry do you think people would be if I built a Tegrid deck? I don't think people would be that angry. I mean, people do get annoyed by it, and if you, like, entered a casual lobby, people would be angry. But, Full of Pox? Yeah, I'm sure people would get mad. But, if that's how you want to build your deck, that's how you want to build your deck. I don't build my decks to make people mad. I don't think that's the correct decision. But, I do think building your decks... if you build your deck around not making people mad, then that also is a mistake. You don't want to make everyone happy, because it's a game of Commander. You're supposed to win. You don't always need to win. You don't need to build your deck to win all the time, which is a philosophy I follow. But also at the same time, if you aren't building your deck to win, then it isn't a good deck. I mean, I don't know. There's probably nicer ways to word that, but, like... it's the truth. Sunforger is cast. I want max salt. I would not... yeah. Some people do get really salty over stacks, which I find interesting. I get it. I get it, don't get me wrong. Stack. So Counterflux is cast. Countering Sunforger. We have nothing to say about this. Our lands are safe. Our lands are safe. So Shram triggers, they do get to draw a card. I kind of want to put Smoke Stacks and Tangle Wired in a deck. Go for it. Have I ever built a deck with that? I don't think I've ever built a deck solely with Smokestacks and Tanglewire. But there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, they're still Magic cards. Sometimes, in my opinion, if you stack some person out of the game and you can't do anything, that's their win. I've had games like that where it's just like, okay, you stopped me from doing anything. You win now. I treat it the same way as I treat a combo deck. But then again, people also are not always the biggest fan of combo too. Kalamax the Storm Sire is finally cast. He doesn't have a way to protect his commander though. We are still at 2. So we want to Maze's End here. Search our library for... Let's just go Simic. And pass turn. Upkeep, draw. Go to main. So... Maze's End. Let's play... Triome. Now we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We should Hour of Promise here. Getting 2 more gates. This may get countered, but that's okay. I'd much rather this get countered than, let's say, our commander protection. So he actually forks it, which is good. That means that we have a combo out of his deck. Because you can win with fork. So we want to grab 2 more gates. So that makes it so that we will have 5 gates, and we can make it 6 for the next turn. Before the next turn, if we Cloudshift. Okay, so from here, we'll lead up Cloudshift, so that way if something happens, like Golos gets targeted by removal or something like that, we can flicker it and get another land. So that's why we're holding off on Flicker, but we should do it at the end of Numeron's end step. So that way we get 6 lands, and then we can reap what we sow, reap and sow, getting 7 and then 8 lands with Maze's End. So Whirlwind of Thought is cast. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. Pretty good, pretty good. Makes sense in equipment style deck. Although our opponent really isn't doing anything. We just seem to be moving a bit faster. But Gates has a tendency to move, like, really fast. So, it's not really that big of a surprise there. At least our opponent's going, like... So, nothing really targets us, so we're good. It's Numeron's turn. Let's see what he can do here. It's theoretically possible that he could win. Field of the Dead triggers. It's important to note that not many cards stop us. So it goes to attacks. We are not getting attacked. Why, I do not know. I guess because we can just block with Golos. And just, isn't even a trade. But he can block with Rograk. And it isn't a trade either. But I guess his thing doesn't die if... no, if he double blocks. Like that. Kalamax dies here. Interesting. So whatever our opponents is doing... I don't think they're planning on that. Rolrax deals first strike damage. And then Saram deals the remaining 2 damage, unless they have something to respond. They do not. Saram and Kalamax dies. Thus... Now, does he recast his commander? It looks like that's what's happening. No, Maelstrom Wanderer is cast, cascading 2 times, hitting both. Let's see. What is it hitting? Maelstrom Wanderer's first cascade. Doesn't hit anything, it looks like. Oh no, it hit Ionized Zone. Where second one hit nothing as well. Or I guess Twin Cast. So that's probably the worst. So we get a Golos trigger. Yes, we do search our library for a land. Getting a gate. Azorius Guildgate. Now it's our turn. Momentary Blink is one of the cards we got, which is great. So we can get 2 lands out of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 gates. We can get up to 8. If we Maze's End, can we do it twice? So that is 5, 9 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can do it. So we will first Maze's End here. It does matter what colors we choose though. So let's choose the colors that don't really matter. So Maze's End triggers. We will get Selesnya Guildgate. Maze's End comes back into play. And we pass the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we can also play... Do we, though? I don't want to put Gardener into play just yet. So we'll just pass the turn, leaving up Momentary Blink. Thus allowing us to get 2 more lands, making it so that next turn we'll have access to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We win next turn. And that's where we're at. Right, do we have... We have 1 blue and 1 white source on separate lands. So yeah, we do win next turn with Momentary Blink. In fact, I want to do this on Rob's end step, so that way, no counter spells. So we're waiting. Come on. Give it to... Okay, so Momentary Blink, targeting Golos. Grabbing another gate. So our opponent just conceded. Golos triggers. Okay. And so let's Momentary Blink again. Getting 2 Golos triggers. And that's it. Yes, we use his ability. Where is a... Let's grab Izzet Guildgate. And we win. Okay. I want to choose Edwin as our opponent. So for those of you who... So what would have happened here, because our opponent conceded a bit early, which is fine. So what we would have gotten... So currently, right now, not counting the Golos trigger on the stack, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 guild gates. With Golos, we would get 9. Then, during our untap step, or during our upkeep, we could Maze's End, return Maze's End to our hand, put down another gate, and then because of Maze's End ability, because we have 10 or more gates on the battlefield with different names, we do win the game there. So that's an amazing game.